Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to have a look at the round 9 preview. I know originally I said I wasn't going to do one, but I was fairly non-committal on what trades I was going to do, and I was thinking maybe I sit on my hands, but the more I thought about it, the more, the fact of the matter is that if we're trying to get a good overall result, you need to be aggressive, particularly early. Um, so, I think there's a couple of sort of different moves we can make this week just to try and, maybe take some steps up above the other teams. Um, and also, have a bit of a think about the plan going forward too. So, if we go in to have a look at our side, I'll just undo that. So, uh, sort of give away a bit there that we're going to use a trade boost. But in terms of the trades, I'm thinking this week, I think we're going to get rid of Tohu Harris. It's just a bit too scary with, not knowing how his knee is and that sort of thing. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go right down and get in a Wiramu Greg, which might seem a bit of an odd selection, but I was probably overcapitalised in the front row position anyway, without any sort of dual position swing. So this will help solve that problem. And also with Greg, I know he's named to start for the Eels, and even then, most of the minutes in the middle will go to Hopgood, Madison, and Paulo. Uh, but there's, every chance Junior Paulo's playing for New South Wales in Origin. There's an outside chance Hopgood could get a run for Queensland, and even Madison could get a run for New South Wales, given a couple of injuries in the forward areas there. So there could be some serious minutes in around the Origin period, and that's one of the reasons why we like the Parramatta players is they play all the big buy rounds. So having someone like Greg could be really useful during that time. So bringing him in, and it frees up a bit of cash. So what we can do with that is we can get out of Jack Johns, and I need to undo the filters, don't I? And then with that money, I'm going to bring in Max King. So I've been talking about him a lot this season, how he's a super pod in the front row. But bringing him in here does now give me that flexibility that him and Tarpany can swing in between. So in situations such as if Haas is out, I could obviously I can't bring them both into the front row yet. But just if one of them goes down, we do have that flexibility between the front and second row. And plus, also I get Max King in, which is really great. And so then the sort of third move, this is probably the most aggressive move, I think, um, is to use the trade boost. And, I've been talking a lot about getting Lockie Miller into the back line. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of Cam Murray and bring in Nikora. So, massive fan of Nikora. And after watching him in the game against the Dogs, I was like, how do I get him in? And what it come down to was the fact that Nikora doesn't play around 13. Okay, that's fair enough. Does play around 16, does play around 19. So from here to the end of the season, he's only going to miss 2 games. With Cam Murray, he's a shoe in to be selected for New South Wales. So the Rabbitohs play 2 of the bye rounds as well. I think 13 and 19 from memory, the big bye rounds. He's going to miss those, plus the 3 other the 2 other games where he has a bye. So he'll miss 4 games between now and the rest of the season. Plus, on top of that, any resting post Origin, that sort of thing. So my thought is that across the rest of the season, Nikora could potentially outscore Cam Murray, and not, I'd be very comfortable with having that trade. So complete those trades, and so yes, now I guess we've got a bit less money invested in the forward pack. We do now have sort of, I guess, 3 quote unquote guns plus 2 pretty handy bench options. So just put the reserve on him. But in terms of this week, we need to bring Sonny Luke in because Harry's on the bye. Actually, no, sorry, Tarpany's on field. Actually, Stefano's on field too. So Greg's only in case of emergency break glass sort of deal. Excuse me. So Cleary and Hines. So there's a bit of doubt around Cleary. So I'm actually going to swap these two over. And because I don't really have like a Grant or another vice captain option, obviously Nakora plays in the same team as Grant. Probably just going to straight C Grant. Probably throw the VC on for feeder in case of emergency, but um, yeah, I wouldn't be confident playing with the C on for feeder. So I'm going to leave it like that. Need to swap clocks down, bring in Sloan, get him in while he's in form, and well, actually, swap them around because Sloan plays last. So Taruva in against the Tigers could score well, but I know people would trade him out, and that's fair enough too. And then if Cleary's out, we do have Alamotti as a backstop playing in that last game on the Sunday. If I get the news in time, it might actually be Buller. Could be the last reserve. But if not, we'll just run with Cleary. So maybe just one more switch there since they play last. Yeah, so that's the Angry Pirates team, how it's shaping up. So again, we probably need to fix up this hooker two spot. Um, we still want to get Miller in the centre wing, the fullback two spot, obviously, but we're going to keep Buller for a while. That's no stress, and eventually a second 5'8" also I think might be the other thing we're looking at. Um, so that's the Super Coach NRL side. We'll do NRL fantasy. We'll do the NRL stuff first, and swing back to AFL perhaps. So with the NRL fantasy side, I've got three Storm players, so I think it's time to get rid of Warbrick. Actually, I need to move one to the bench, don't I, before we do this? So yeah, so obviously all I say all our wing fullbacks are out. All our wing fullbacks are pretty useless at the moment, to be honest. So Alan Whitey's going to get a run, and Manu will go like that with Warbrick. So Warbrick out, and now that he's on the bench, can bring in Jake Granville. So ideally, if I had the trades on my Supercoach team, I would have loved a sideways Luke to Granville. I think Granville's going to make some money in the short term. Again, starting to think about Origin. Granville will play around 13, and assuming Nanai's out, playing Origin. Who else is in their side? Ruben Cotter. He was the other one I was trying to think of. There should be some minutes for Granville to play this lock forward sort of role, even if Talmalolo is back in. So I think he's a good hold until definitely the first Origin game. I think they play the round 16 as well. So if you can make some good money for us in there and some points, that'd be handy. And then we need to get out of Jaden Campbell. That was a bum pick in the end. And we've got enough money to essentially get whoever we like. So if we go wing fullbacks, is the easiest. 744. So we can't quite get Latrell, but I think anyone else is fair game. And we're going to go with Lockie Miller since, again, we couldn't get him in the Super Coach side. So we're going to bring him in to this side and, hopefully we get the goods. Maybe I should just do one pick at a time. NRL fantasy, this is why people don't like you. The trade functionality is a bit skew if. So get rid of that. Who are we trading out? Campbell out for Miller. Yep, confirm trade. And so we do have the option of doing a third trade if we go back to all positions. So, something like Murray to Haas doesn't make a lot of sense, just given that Haas is playing Origin. Fafita will be playing Origin. It's just a wait and see on Madison. So I might be sort of interested in bringing Nikora in, but he's only on the edge. Because I guess if you have a look at the squad, let's just go back to the team now. There's not a lot of depth on our bench in the forward. So there's been a lot of value in the back line and the sort of halves positions. Guys like Jake Granville playing out of position. So we just need to do some swaps here as well. Grant for Cook. It's taking sweet time. Yeah, forward pack's pretty solid. We will switch these guys around because you can't do the loophole anyway. So we'll back Cleary into play. If he's rested, we'll cop Hines a score. That's not an issue. Yeah, Alamotti. So we do have a little bit of flexibility in the in through like Lemuelu moving and forward into the middle if we need, but there's quite a lot of halves at the moment, which is a bit of a concern. But we'll work on that. Back lines set. So now we just need our bench options. So Granville, you swap with Grant because you're in. Crossland, yes. Katoa, yes. We'll back Sonny Luke in against the Tigers. We're expecting him to, maybe get a few minutes, a bit more attack. It's sort of game where you can blood a kid like that. Talau will be the 18th man in case of any emergency across the board. But yeah, we should be okay, I think. Yeah, so that's the NRL fantasy locked away. Sports deck, we're not actually going to make any changes. We're doing quite well in that, so we'll just sit that one out this week. The team's looking good. We'll give them another run as is. Oh, Payne Haas will be out obviously, but that's neither here nor there. Also, I might just do the AFL one while we're logged into the main account, and then we'll switch over to the Bulldog project. So, AFL SuperCoach this week. So, gonna cash out my last trade boost. And I guess it's all about trying to get as ready as we can to smash the upgrades hard. So what I'm thinking is McKenna out, Wilmot out, and Davey out. And then so based on break even, the two coming in are going to be Wagner and Mitchell. So the two cheapies this week. And then you can see it gives us the option of bringing in almost anyone we want. We can't quite get Oliver. Rory Laird's the obvious option. But again, in the spirit of going with a bit more sort of point of difference moves, we're going to bring in Caleb Sarong. So I'm pretty sure he was one of the most traded in. No, look, well, I can't say. Rory Laird was probably a bit more traded in than him at the moment. But, he's scored really well other than an 80 in the first round. He's scored really well. So, put that side by side with Laird, who scored 50 in the first round, and they've pretty much gone the same since then. And he's about 40k cheaper and less well owned. So, bring him in. So, we've got the three trades. We've used our last trade boost, but, it's a bit of fun, so we don't really care too much. And then what we can start to do is all the mad DPP swings. So it doesn't matter which one really. Send them back. So Sarong, Roberts. So you can see the back line. We've got Dawson, Dacos, Zeeble, Day. We're pretty happy with. Barkley and Jones, they've obviously got a fair bit of cash tied to them. So there is definitely like a Tom Stewart and Chincotta next week. The only thing that might prevent that is if Bryn Teakle goes well again and gets named for his third game, we might have to bring him in because we do like him as a cheap ruck option. But you can see the midfield's a bit more fleshed out. Ideally, you'd find a way to get Dunkley back into the forward line, and maybe actually I might redo the trades in a minute and make that adjustment somehow. I think maybe Sheasel's got to go back as well. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, you can see now the midfield's a bit more solid looking. So with the four, if we don't include Dunkley, Hopper, Warple, sort of similar to Buckley and Jones, we can easily up one, down one there. Ashcroft's doing all right as a rookie, and we've got Jimby as well, who'd probably be okay on field. And probably just looking at it, it's between him and Chandler really for the last spot, whether it's in midfield or forward, and Dunkley obviously fits in wherever he's required there. And the West Coast got Carlton, okay. No, that's at home, I suppose. Melbourne's at home. Okay, I guess, yeah, Melbourne against North, so maybe Chandler. And then we've got, we're happy to play Jimby as the option there. Wagner, yes, Ryan. And then Mitchell or Green. Who are they playing this week? The Dogs. We'll go Fergus Green. He's done all right recently. Could even just be Ryan, I suppose. um, yeah, so, the team's starting to look good. We've got money there for another defender, Tommy Stewart. And then the sixth one, Sinclair or Sicily, whoever we can get at the time. Um, like I said, we've got four midfielders that are all right. We've got, I guess, maybe between these guys, we've got almost two spots sewn up with, I guess, Jimby as well, just making the difference there. So two up, two down. And then maybe a couple of forward spots. One will obviously be trying to get Dunkley back here. So that's, I guess, again, another midfield spot potentially we need. But between Radigalia, Chandler, Green, Ryan, we've definitely got a forward option and maybe a cheap sort of midfield option as well with the money. Plus, we are hoping Wagner, Mitchell do a bit. Next week, Chincotta, and if Deagle keeps going, he'll come in. So next week might be a double downgrade because, again, we've only got the two trades from here on in. But after that, then we'll be one up, one down each week, all the way into the buys, hopefully. In terms of setup for the captain, vice captain, I think VC will stay on English. Good match up against Hawks. And then, it's between Dawson or Dacos, but Dacos has been more consistent, so we'll stick with him for this week. And finally, we've got the Bulldog project sign. So again, this is going to be an example of where we've only got two trades because we've used our trade boost. We do need to get a front rower in. So what we're going to do is get rid of Tanner, bottom dollar cheapie, but it isn't going to do much for us at all. And the player we're going to bring in is actually Ruben Cotter. So, I just talked about the fact he won't play Origin, but he is cheap and, as a third front row sort of gun, we'll take that. And I guess keeping Pele just in case, he should be back in the next week or two. And yeah, in situations where we need to play at a second front row, we should have him. But obviously, we need to make some money to do that. So the two on the chopping block are Qatar and Host, but we're going to just get out of Host because he's got a terrible break even. And because we've only got 220k, because this is the Bulldog project, we are going to bring in Curtis Moran into the squad. So bottom dollar on the bubble this week. So, we're not expecting much from him in terms of points or cash gen. It was literally just to get a swap a bottom dollar cheapie for a bottom dollar cheapie. So essentially, we just use the trade to get him out of the front row and then upgraded Host to Cotter. So when you say it like that, wasted a trade perhaps, but it's much nicer than what it could be. So just make some swings. Grant's out with the bye. Haas is out with a suspension. Katoa's on a bye, but could also have some concussion issues to consider. Or you got to swap Moran. So we've talked about Hines and Cleary already, so we'll leave it set up as is. I don't think I want to play Moran, but I might have to. Oh, I didn't think that through. Burton, Schuster's out, injured. Nickel Clockstar's out with HIA. Tommy Turbo's playing, so Sloan, yep, we're happy to have him in the side. Alamotti, we're going to have to play, and we're going to have to play Moran, I think. So, yeah, bye, suspended, injured, bye. Injured, not selected. Yeah, okay, so we've got 17 for this week, so we've just survived that. got 20k. We've still got 25 trades, so we're actually doing okay. I think. Oh no, wait. That's I was thinking the AFL was a bit lower. So yeah, Fines is the captain. I don't think it really matters who we VC. So maybe we can just put on Joey Marnie. Worst comes to worst. We'll take what he can get against the Warriors, I suppose. And yeah, so that's how the teams are shaping up going into round 9 of the NRL season, and obviously round 7 with the AFL Supercoach side. If you've got any thoughts on different moves you'd make, feel free to comment. I can't guarantee I'll get to them by the time first game kicks off tonight. But definitely, always looking at different things to ponder and consider. If you're enjoying the content, remember like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that other obligatory YouTube sort of stuff. And other than that, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.